All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Popular Cult. My name is Damien. I will be continuing on from my first video where we covered a lot of very disturbing things coming out of Hollywood. So, we always get called a cult here at DAL, so I am just going to keep on highlighting the cult that's so popular in the world. So let's get started here. We have a video from an interview in the 60s with Anton LaVey, a satanic priest. Let's see what Anton has to say.
Services and newspapers carried a story out of San Francisco describing the first satanic wedding ceremony ever performed. The pictures showed a nude woman lying on the altar behind the guest, whom you see now, the Reverend Anton Szandor LaVey, who is the founder and high priest of the First Church of Satan. Anton Szandor LaVey uses as somewhat of a credo this timeless quote: "Remember, evil backwards spells live." Somehow that never occurred to me. I understand that, what are you doing?
I'm giving a blessing to the audience.
I don't think they appreciate it. They were throwing it back.
Well, they thought it was a curse. Would you like me to show them how the sign of the curse works?
Sign
it's
of the
completely
curse?
different.
How does it go?
No, not at you people out there in the audience, but this is the difference.
Aim it toward Red China, would you?
This is the sign of the horns. A curse sign, the two fingers extended. This way, spread apart for sort of shotgun blast, you know.
I always
all over.
figured if I ever met the devil, he'd have dirty fingernails. Go on.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Where?
Dirty fingernails.
Well, that's because I've been fooling around with your equipment.
Never mind. Don't blame it on the studio. Go on with it.
All right.
So that's the sign of the horn, and then what happens? Is that it?
Well, there are other ones, too.
Yeah, what are the other ones?
The other one's one of them's the pox sign. That's three fingers extended.
A pox on you?
A pox on you. During the Middle Ages, this was
yes.
But
You're
originally...
a bad cat.
Well, you have to be bad to be good, don't you?
Is it true that you teach people how to make voodoo dolls and stick pins in them to hurt people?
That's right. I believe that hate is necessary in a controlled way just as much as love is necessary.
Oh, hate is necessary. What did Jesus say about hate in the Bible?
Services and...
Now, you can read more about Anton LaVey. He actually wrote the Satanic Bible, but of course, Satanism has been around a lot longer than Anton LaVey. But he is just part of Satanism coming out of the closet. He was very active in the 50s and 60s, and well, all the way up until his death. I think he died in either the early 2000s or sometime in the 90s. So, you just heard him out of his own mouth talking about what this hand sign means that he's throwing up. It means a pox on you, a curse on you. Imagine some of the rude hand gestures you can make today. This actually has curses attached to it, according to Satanism. So let's take a look at some of these people here using this hand sign. We've got Katy Perry. Remember her from the first presentation where she was cooking herself in a pot during a music video and serving herself up on a table to be eaten by the guests? Well, that's her at some music awards wearing devil horns and throwing up the sign of the horns. Here she is again at the same event, throwing up the horns. We have Gene Simmons from that band Kiss, Knights in Satan's Service, throwing up the devil horns. He has a show called Family Jewels about all of the women that he fornicates with or fornicated with, whatever. We've got Jennifer Aniston throwing up the devil horns, the curse, a curse on you. We've got Shia LaBeouf, a famous actor, throwing up the 3 6s. And then we've got Rachel Madcow from MSNBC throwing up the curse sign. Ooh, what do we have here? The Pope and one of his minions throwing up the curse sign. A pox on you, I curse all of you, is what they're saying. You've got him again with his minion. Now, this is another pope. I think it's Benedict, throwing up the devil horns, sitting on a chair with the inverted cross. Here we have Anton LaVey's altar showing the inverted Baphomet, the inverted cross, signs of Satanism. We're gonna cover that a little bit later. More pictures of the Pope and the inverted cross. Don't we find it interesting that the popes lecture hall looks like a giant snake. I got to tell you, it's right there. If you have eyes to see, what does that look like to you? I see two eyes and some fangs, and the Pope sits right in the middle. The Pope is literally speaking out the mouth of the serpent. Who is the serpent? From the garden, that great serpent, the serpent that deceived Adam and Eve, still talking to us today from a huge platform. And then this is a close-up of the platform that the Pope speaks on. Notice that creature coming up behind him. What does that look like to you? I believe they say it's the second coming of Jesus Christ. Does that look like the loving Christ coming back for his kids, or does that look like something from the bottomless pit? To me, that looks evil and demonic. Here's another shot of it. So there is the wonderful Pope sitting underneath his demonic God and preaching words from the serpent's mouth. Here you go again. The Pope throwing up the devil horns. Here is one of the saints, Saint Epiphanius of Salamanus, throwing up the sign of the curse. Here we have a Beatles album showing the sign of the curse and also the 3 6s. Here we have another shot from that Beatles album showing the sign of the horns, the curse, and the 666s. Going over the eyes, we're going to cover that in just a little bit. Here is another couple of hand signs from the Beatles showing the sign of the hidden hand, which gets into Freemasonry, just another sect of Satanism. Remember that Beatles album where they have Aleister Crowley in the back? There you go, a good shot of Aleister Crowley, if you remember him from the first video in the series, the father of modern Satanism. A Satanist from the early 1900s wrote the Book of the Law and other satanic books. We've got Rihanna, famous singer, throwing up the devil horns, sign of the curse. Here she is again, throwing up 2 devil horns, sign of the curse. Throwing up the horns. Now I'm sure you go, oh, that just means rock and roll. No, it actually doesn't mean rock and roll. In fact, rock and roll, if you study it, actually also means something filthy. So we have Rihanna in the music video Umbrella, where she is copying she's putting herself in a form resembling the Baphomet, if you remember that from the first video in the series. This is the goat of Mendes, the hermaphroditic goat that these Satanists worship, going back to the Knights Templar. Here we have Eminem putting up the sign of the curse right on his forehead to show you who he worships. Who is he honoring? The goat of Mendes, the Baphomet. Here we have Fergie, a famous singer and rapper, Snoop Dogg, throwing up the curse sign. Here we have Jamie Foxx throwing up the curse and Angelina Jolie throwing up the sign of the curse. Here we have Tom Cruise next to an English actor whose name I forget, throwing up the sign of the curse. Here's Bill Clinton throwing up the sign of the curse. Here he is again, cursing people that he's talking to. Here he is with Hillary Clinton, his wife, cursing people as they wave to them. Here is Hillary Clinton again, throwing up the sign of the curse. Here we have George Bush. Oh, he's just doing the Longhorn sign. Well, it's true. There are certain people that throw the sign up and they say, well, it's just the sign for the Longhorns, the football team in UT, Texas. Well, these people are involved in satanic families, and this hand sign has had a meaning way before the Longhorns were even a football team or that college was ever even built. So if I went to other parts of the world and I told them that the middle finger meant I love you, and it didn't, it still holds the same meaning. You can fool people, you can trick them into believing that a hand gesture means something that it doesn't, which is what the devil would do. He is the father of lies. We'll learn about a little bit more about that later. Look, I just like looking at their facial expressions, especially like this one here on George Bush, this one over here. From these facial expressions, I get the meaning that he can't believe that these people don't know what he's doing to them. It would be like throwing a very offensive hand gesture to somebody and they just had no idea that you were cursing them. That's exactly what the sentiment is right here. Here he is next to the Queen, throwing up the devil horns facing downwards, which is a sign of, again, the curse sign of the devil, but also pointing down towards hell. Here's his wife doing the exact same thing. You look at her left hand. She's pointing to the ground, representing hell. Here you go. Some more curse signs from George Bush and Mohammed Ahmadinejad, ex-president of Iran, using the same hand signs. Well, you'd think that they're all in a cult. Isn't this something that a cult will do? Have their own little private sign language? Here he is again with his wife, throwing up the sign of the curse. Now, let's go back to that interview with Anton LaVey and see what else he has to say.
I haven't been a satanic priest all my life, as you probably gathered.
You've probably been an inmate part of your life.
Well, an inmate in possibly a pretty big institution.
Is that where you picked up that yo-yo that hangs around your
That's
thigh?
not a yo-yo. That's the equivalent of a crucifix.
A crucifix? You mean that's your version?
This is not my version. This has been around for a long, long time. It's just a magical symbol symbolizing the inversion or the opposition or the adversary of the concept that is normally supplied.
Are you going to hook up with any paganistic societies?
I don't know. I imagine paganism is just a euphemism for Satanism. People want to get out and run around in the woods without any clothes and all this sort of thing. I don't feel this is necessary.
Well, you thought it was necessary to make that girl take her clothing off for that wedding.
The girl without clothing...
How did you talk her into that? She must be a nut.
Well, of course, she's not. In fact, I might say that most of the people that are in my group are professional people. They're business people. They're people that are from very responsible walks of life.
Interesting. What did he say at the
end there? I haven't been a satanic priest all my life.
Let me pause that. He said, the people in my group are very respectable and come from all walks of life. They're very professional. High-class people. Interesting. I also find it very strange that when Bush, in 2000, became president, the Republicans changed their logo from the upright star to facing down. What did he just say? In that video, it represents the inversion. What does he have hanging around his neck? He said it is the crucifix to the Satanist. This is a satanic symbol, like he's saying in the video. I find it very interesting that in some of these interviews with Satanists, they're actually quite honest with what they're up to and what they believe. And what he's saying is that this is a magical symbol and that they use it to honor Satan and to invert reality. If you ever look into the mainstream and all the stuff that they promote, it's always the counter opposite to the Bible. Take the theory of evolution. Very interesting parallel we have. You got man bringing death into the world through sin. Well, evolution teaches that death brought man into the world. It's a complete reversal. It's a complete reversal. That's what Satan does. He flips things upside down. And he's always going to teach the opposite of what God is telling us in his word. Here we have a shot of Anton LaVey performing, I think this is the marriage that they're talking about during that interview, where you have the woman on the altar and then you see the head of the Baphomet behind them. Again, the inverted star there representing the goat head of the Baphomet. Here he is again. I don't know if that's his kid or just, hey, there's no limits when it comes to Satanism. Sometimes when it's kind of hard to talk with people about these disturbing topics. They don't want to hear it. They'll say things like, oh, no, nobody would do that. You know, that's so evil, nobody would do it. Well, just because you wouldn't do something doesn't mean that the Satanist isn't going to do it. You really need to study that Bible and realize what Satan is capable of. And it would blow your imagination away to know the levels of evil that these people are involved in to worship their God. This is what they do to impress Satan. Here he is again, wearing a necklace, not quite the same as he did during the interview, but again, it shows you the inverted star, the Baphomet head. All right, let's read from the Bible. Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Interesting. It's talking about the seed of the serpent. and how these two bloodlines are going to have enmity. They're going to have conflict. They're going to fight with each other. Well, if we're God's people, who's the seed of the serpent? Who are these satanic families that are opposed to us? I'm not sure how many people know this, but you can do some quick research on Prescott Bush of the Bush family dynasty. He was actually very closely engaged with Hitler, giving him money and funding World War II. In fact, the money that he supplied to Hitler gave him the ability to do a lot of the things that he was able to accomplish during that war and building up Germany up until the war. Well, let's take a look at Barbara Bush. Very uncanny resemblance to Aleister Crowley, I would say. In fact, if you studied Pauline Pierce, Barbara Bush's mother, she actually had encounters with Aleister Crowley that she wrote in her journal. Well, Aleister Crowley, if you do some research on this guy, was a very disgusting Satanist back in the early 1900s, and he did a lot of sex rituals, sexual magic. I wonder what Pauline Pierce was doing with him. Here's another shot of Barbara Bush and Aleister Crowley. It literally looks like you just put a wig on the guy. Very interesting resemblance. So, we've got Sarah Palin throwing up the sign of the curse. She was governor of Alaska until she got more into politics. Who was she running with? That dirtbag Republican, I forget his name. Here we have Dick Cheney throwing up a curse sign. I think this is during the inauguration of Bush Jr. Here we have Angela Merkel. I don't know if she's still president of Germany. I know that she was stepping down. I don't know if that has taken place yet, but don't you find it very interesting that the leader of Germany in the modern day looks quite similar to the leader of Germany from not too long ago and is in the age range of being his daughter. Let's take a look at Angela Merkel and Clara Hitler, Hitler's mother. Wow. What an interesting resemblance. I wonder what these satanic families are doing in the world. Isn't Satan full of lies? Doesn't he lie to the public? Isn't that a saying that the entire world is a stage? Well, we've got, Justin Trudeau, leader of Canada, has an uncanny resemblance to Cuban dictator Fidel Castro. That's Fidel Castro in his youth. Most people kind of remember him as an old man because he's been old for quite a while, and I believe he died recently. There he is again as a young man. Oh, wow. There are some more comparisons to Justin Trudeau and Cuban dictator Fidel Castro. How interesting is it that the leader of a country over here so much resembles the leader of a country over here, and they're within the age range of being father and son? Oh, what a crazy conspiracy you've brought up. Well, there's Justin Trudeau's mother very affectionately hanging out with Fidel Castro. And that guy right there is the supposed father of Justin Trudeau. Looks absolutely nothing like him, but hey, whatever. Here's Fidel Castro literally holding Justin Trudeau with his mother right next to him. There is again Fidel Castro holding up Justin Trudeau, and that is the father right next to him. Yeah. There we go, Justin Trudeau saying hi to Fidel Castro. Hey, Dad, what's up? Barack Obama throwing up the devil sign, the curse sign, sign of the horns. We have him throwing it up again at some campaign rally. You've got him, sign of the curse right there. Another curse, another curse. Here he is cursing people again. Oh, sometimes a photograph just says it all. Just look at the horns coming out of his head. Look at the horns. Sign of the horns. Here he is again, throwing out the curse sign. Here's his husband, throwing up the curse sign. Here we've got a person that just has an uncanny resemblance to Obama, wearing a Satan outfit next to a guy who just so happens to be friends with Obama. And there's them hanging out together. What a strange quinky-dink. You know, people say all the time, oh, if all these crazy conspiracies are true, how come there's no pictures of it? How come there's no videos of this stuff floating around? There's actually quite a lot floating around. People just ignore it. They just, oh, that can't be true. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. Well, seems pretty clear to me. Pretty clear cut. You have this woman's name is Anita Blanchard. She is the doctor that supposedly delivered the Obama children, and that is Sasha Obama. Yeah. This man's name is Marty Nesbitt. He is the husband of Anita Blanchard, and that's Malia Obama, right next to him. Very interesting. Yeah, there's a better comparison there, you can see. Yeah, they are good friends with the Obamas. They're hanging out together, right there. You see it. What an interesting coincidence. In the first presentation, remember all the drag queens running around? Remember all the men dressed in drag? Well, think about it. You've got the Dalai Lama here throwing up the sign of the curse. Isn't he supposed to be a holy man, all about, good things and whatever? Well, they are all part of the same religion. You can just learn the language of symbolism and you'll be able to see all of this stuff very clearly. You've got the Buddha statue throwing up the curse sign. The Bible very distinctly talks about not having idols or graven images. The idol is literally cursing you. Interesting. Uh-oh, Ronald Reagan throwing up the sign of the horns, curse sign. Such a shame. You got Jamie Foxx here throwing up devil horns. You got this rock star Ronnie James throwing up devil horns. Uh-oh. Here we have Donald Trump with Jesse James throwing up the sign of the curse. Here we have Betty White and Katherine Hagel, two famous people from Hollywood throwing up the curse sign. Uh-oh. Pat Robertson, a famous televangelist worth millions of dollars throwing up the curse sign. Well, who's he really working for? You've got James Franco and Bret Michaels, two very famous people, famous actor and a famous musician throwing up the curse sign. James Franco has it right above his head, again, representing the Baphomet horns. Well, it all kind of represents the Baphomet horns, but when you put it right in your face, it's just more serious replication of what they're representing here. Here we've got two rappers, Mos Def and Lil Wayne, throwing up the curse sign. Here we have Michael Jackson and Jennifer Love Hewitt, an actress, throwing up the curse sign. Here we have Miley Cyrus the Virus throwing up the curse sign. Don't you guys find it interesting that all of the women, when they're young girls going up through the Disney program, when they're young actresses in Disney, that they turn out to be extreme whores by the time they reach their late teens? And then who is their fan base? So you have this young fan base that grows up with these kids, and then when they turn themselves into whores, the fans will follow them, because these are the people that are being idolized in society, and what you would call a cult. This is cult-like behavior, throwing up all of these cult signs, and people's cult-like mentality. It's like it's called the cult of celebrity. People are so obsessed with what the celebrities are doing, they mimic it. The theory of evolution says that we all came from monkeys, and yet they operate on the principle, monkey see, monkey do, and it kind of works with some people. So I would highly encourage them to wake up to this. Wake up to the manipulation. Here we have Sharon Osbourne with her kids, Kelly Osbourne, Jack Osbourne. They're posing with Jack Black and Kyle Glass, all throwing up the curse sign. Here we have Jada Pinkett Smith, and I forget this woman's name on the left, but she's also a famous actress. You've got Avril Lavigne throwing up the devil signs, Matthew McConaughey throwing up the sign of the curse. You have a band who is dedicated to witchcraft called The Coven, throwing out the curse sign. Here you have Robin Williams throwing up the sign of the horns. I curse all of you. Cher cursing her audience. Here she is performing a song with the Hindu or Buddha, I think it's Hindu, with all the arms coming out. Well, what are they doing? They're throwing out the sign of that curse. All of these religions are satanic, just like Anton LaVey was saying in that interview. He says, well, they're pagan. Paganism is just another form of Satanism. But if you follow the symbolism, you won't get confused. And also, if you just make two quick comparisons here, you've got a religion that is based off of what Jesus did for us, and then you have all the other religions based off of what you're going to do to get to heaven or paradise or nirvana or whatever you want to call it. You've got Lady Gaga. Here he is throwing up the sign of the curse, even wearing devil horns. Here he is again, wearing devil horns. Lots of Satanism being thrown right at you. Here's Prince William. And here's Prince Harry. He's actually doing a double sign. You've got the sign of the horns and also the sign of the hidden hand. So I wasn't able to get all the hand signs into this presentation. There were so many. I got over 300 slides in this presentation, and there were thousands more I could have put in here. Here we have Courtney Love with her child throwing up the curse sign. Get them started young. Here we have Rick James and Eddie Murphy throwing up the curse sign and also the 666. Oh, Spider-Man. Some of these very popular comic books. What's going on here? Look at the hand sign. Look at the hand sign. Here you have Yasser Arafat, the president of Palestine, or ex-president of Palestine, rather. What's he doing? Throwing up the curse sign. I thought all of these politicians are like competing with each other, and they're from different areas and different demographics. Why are they using all the same symbolism? Italian president, or the Italian Prime Minister Berlusconi. Again, I don't think he's still the Prime Minister. This is from a while ago, but there he is, throwing up the curse sign. Amy Grant. Isn't she supposed to be a Christian singer? Why is she throwing up the curse sign? The former Vice President Dan Quayle throwing up the sign of the curse. The CEOs of McDonald's throwing up the sign of the curse. Aren't they a big part of destroying the health of people with their food? Here we have Kid Rock with Bill Clinton throwing up the sign of the curse. Here's Jesse Duplantis, a very famous and rich televangelist. Him and Kenneth Copeland love to get together and talk about how God wants them to have multiple private airlines. Kenneth Copeland has his own private airfield in which his house is on the same property. Millions and tens of millions of dollars these guys are making. Here's Benny Hinn, another extremely rich evangelist. Here we have Rodney Howard Brown throwing up the sign of the curse, another evangelist. Here's Kenneth Copeland, televangelist, throwing up the curse sign. There are so many people in the world that reject Christianity because of people like this. Such a shame. Such a shame. Stop depending on these people to get your religion or to get your God from. You need to read the Bible. Get it straight from the source and don't be corrupted by this kind of stuff. Such a shame. Here we have Joel Osteen throwing up the curse sign. It just means UT. Well, I don't take it to mean that. I take it to mean a curse sign. So much more we can get into on these rich pastors and the way that they are twisting the church around and how so many people are snared by their philosophy of the prosperity gospel. Hey, if you give me lots of money, God's going to give you lots of money. And if people don't read their Bible, they just believe it. They look at these folks and they say, they must be blessed. Look at this, Stephen Furtick throwing up the sign of the sign of the horns, the curse sign, cursing the audience. Another very rich pastor in the mainstream, and he's talking with this video here that they're in is T.D. Jakes, is another very rich pastor, and they sit down and talk about how rich they are and how hard they had to work to get rich. People are not reading their Bible. They're not understanding that these are those wolves in sheep clothing that are telling you the wonderful things that you want to hear, like, if you just plant some seeds, plant your seed with us, give us your money, and God will bless you. No, that is a lie. That is deception. That is satanic. Here you go, T.D. Jakes doing some Masonic hand gestures, also throwing up the curse sign in the 666, doing a Masonic handshake there. There he is, throwing up the curse sign. Why do they have to do it, you might ask? Why are they throwing up this hand sign? Well, it's part of a ritual. It's part of the way that they communicate with each other, how they identify other members of the cult. When you're in a cult, you don't want everybody else to know that you're in a cult, so you develop a secret language. And every time your other cult members see this stuff, they'll say, oh yeah, there you go, we know that he's in the club. Here we have Elizabeth Taylor, a very famous British actress, next to Usher, throwing up the curse sign. Here we have ex-president of France, Sarkozy, throwing up the curse sign. Here you have the French president now, Macron, throwing up the curse sign. Here we have King Abdullah, the king of Jordan, Well, again, I don't think he's still the king of Jordan, but there he is with Putin throwing up the curse sign. There's Putin throwing up the sign of the curse. Here we have Carl Pagan, sign of the horns. I curse all of you. I'm loyal to Satan. That is what this sign means. Very interesting that these mainstream scientists are representing Satanism. You might want to think about that. Disney movies. In Disney movies, especially the ones that you have to animate every single frame. There's never a mistake when it comes to, oh, well, they didn't mean to do that. Why is there a Disney character throwing up the devil horns, sign of the curse? Here we have another Disney character. I believe this is from the film Cinderella, throwing up the devil horns. This is the good witch from Cinderella. If you remember from my first video, when we went over the abominations that God listed for the people, you need to stay away from this stuff or it's going to separate you from me. Witchcraft is one of them, and Disney loves to portray the good witch. There she is, putting up the sign of the curse. Here we have some more Disney characters putting up the sign of the curse. Here we have Snow White putting up the curse sign. Here we have from Beauty and the Beast, the movie about bestiality. You've got these characters throwing up the curse sign. Why do they always dress the women in Disney movies like whores? What is that doing to a child's subconscious? What are they going to think is right and proper when they grow up after seeing stuff like this? Here we have Helen Keller. She came up with the sign for sign language for deaf people. That means I love you. Because what you're going to get when you're explaining this and say, oh, well, this is actually the sign of the horns, this means a curse. Oh, no. It actually means I love you in sign language. Well, let's read a little bit about Helen Keller. In her book, originally published in 1927 as My Religion, when she was 47 years old, she wrote a tribute to Emanuel Swedenborg. She regarded him as one of the noblest champions of true Christianity that has ever been known. This book is regarded as Helen Keller's spiritual autobiography, in which she openly declares that the teachings of Emanuel Swedenborg have been my light and a staff in my hand, and by his vision splendid, I am attended on my way. So she's saying that her biggest influence is Emanuel Swedenborg. Let's read about this guy. Emanuel Swedenborg, born in February 8th, 1688, died 1772, was a Swedish scientist, philosopher, Christian mystic, and theologian. Hold on a second there. A Christian mystic? That's like saying you're a Christian Satanist. There is no such thing as a Christian mystic, but this is what these people love to do to twist Christianity. So let's define what a mystic is. Of or relating to mysteries or esoteric rites, occult. Of or relating to mysticism or mystics, mysterious, obscure, enigmatic, inducing a feeling of awe or wonder, having magical properties. What does the Bible have to say about magic? What does the Bible have to say about mysticism, mystics, wizards, witchcraft? It all falls under that umbrella. This is an abomination to God. So you might want to consider the source for that hand sign in sign language. Who is the devil? He's the father of lies. What did Anton LaVey say in that interview? They love to invert things, flip it upside down. Wouldn't it be a perfect thing for a Satanist to invert I love you into I curse you and make people run around unknowingly throwing up a curse sign? All right, getting back to the Bible. John chapter 8, verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Well, the father of lies would definitely come up with a way to get people to think that they're saying, I love you, when they're actually saying, I curse you. What does that mean? He was a murderer from the beginning. I thought Cain was the first murderer. Well, if you have hatred in your heart, Jesus says you are guilty of murder. So that tells you that the devil hated in the beginning. He hated Adam and Eve for whatever reason. And that is his big motivation to do a lot of the things that he's doing today, is because of his hatred for you and me. Codex Magica by Tex Mars is an excellent book detailing the Satanism. He goes through all of the, well, not all of them, but quite a lot of the different hand signs and the symbolism that is detailed in Satanism. Let's read a little bit about one of these hand signs, which is the 666. In Satanism, when making this sign, the three fingers not used to make the circle are considered symbolic of the unholy Trinity: the horned god, the goddess, and offspring, the Antichrist. Some go so far as to adopt the view that the bent three fingers are shaped as three number sixes, or 666. Thus we have 666, the sun deity Lucifer, the goddess, Mystery Babylon, the great mother of harlots, and the beast, the Antichrist, 666, all in one unitary hand sign. So you have the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Well, you also have the Satanic Trinity. You have Lucifer, Babylon the Great, mother of harlots, and the Antichrist. If you ever wondered why there is a pyramid on the back of the dollar bill, well, there is some occult meanings here. You have the all-seeing eye of Lucifer at the top of the pyramid. You have 13 levels to the pyramid, representing the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati. You have Novo Ordo Seclorum, which means the new order of the ages, the new world order. You'll hear this talked about a lot. I'll probably do, as part of the series, covering the new world order and the things that they talk about. Well, let's jump over to the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati. There's a book written by Fritz Springmeier with this title, where he goes over all of these bloodlines. Again, going back to the Bible, talking about the seed of the serpent, who are these satanic families that are causing so much chaos in the world. All right, well, we've got the 666 displayed right here. If you put it over your eyes, you're also portraying the all-seeing eye of Lucifer with 666, the Satanic Trinity. Here you go again, representing the 666. Here we have multiple celebrities showing the 666. Here we have Michael Jackson throwing up the 666s. Uh-oh, here we go with Bill Clinton again, throwing up some satanic hand signs, the 666. There he is again, throwing up the 666. There's Hillary throwing up the 666, the Satanic Trinity. There she is again, there she is again, there she is again. Uh-oh, there's Elon Musk. Oh man, I thought he was a cool billionaire. He's going to clean up Twitter and do some awesome stuff. Well, there he is throwing up a satanic hand sign. Ooh, Justin Trudeau, what a shocker, throwing up the 666 of Satanism. Uh-oh, Donald Trump throwing up the 666. He does this all the time. I hate to show this to you, but if I'm going to point out everyone else, I got to throw him in there too. Uh-oh, Ronald Reagan throwing up the 666. Little known fact about Ronald Reagan was that they used an astrologer in the White House, a clairvoyant, to discern the times, to be an observer of times. What does the Bible have to say about that? This is the definition of astrology, the divination of the supposed influences of the stars and planets on human affairs and terrestrial events by their positions and aspects. What is the definition of clairvoyance? The power or faculty of discerning objects not present to the senses, ability to perceive matters beyond the range of ordinary perception, an observer of times, which is forbidden in Genesis. Here we go, Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 9 through 12. What does it say about the observer of times? That it is an abomination to the Lord thy God. Uh-oh, the Buddha statue, again, throwing up the 666, the Satanic Trinity. Oh, I thought Buddha was its religion on its own, and that you got to achieve nirvana or whatever it is in Buddhism that gets you into that state of ecstasy or whatever. Yeah, well, you might want to study what this stuff really means. There it is, more Buddha statues portraying. If you can really learn this language, the language of symbolism, you won't be fooled by these people. They lie out of their mouths, but the symbolism tells you the truth. Oh, Paul McCartney, the Beatles, throwing up the 666 and the sign of the curse. Uh-oh. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, throwing up the 666s, the Satanic Trinity. There she is again, throwing up the Trinity for Satan. You've got Oprah. Oh, I thought she was a wonderful TV personality and she helps people. Well, there she is doing satanic hand signs. And uh-oh, what's going on here? John of God was once hyped by Oprah. Now he's accused of abusing hundreds of women. Abusing hundreds of women? Why would Oprah be hanging out with a person like that? Uh-oh, faith healer with millions of followers ran a sex slave farm and sold babies to the highest bidder. Wouldn't that be a cult? Oh, you guys at Dinosaur Adventureland, you guys are such a cult. Oh, are we selling babies? Is Oprah coming to visit? Are we throwing up weird hand signs? Oh, we give free tours to people that come, teach them about creation, the Bible, give them a free four-wheeler tour, feed them for free, house them for free. Whoa, what a terrible cult. So we can see what the famous people of the world are up to, visiting sex cults that are raising babies to be sold to the highest bidder. There you go, that's Oprah for you. Here we have human trafficking victim prices. So let's go over some of this. You have babies from China going for almost $8,000. You've got children from the United Kingdom, almost $25,000 you got right there. Romanian girls, $3,000 to $6,000. You've got a Roma child bride, whatever that means, almost $300,000. You've got others being sold for almost $12,000. Do you guys have this kind of money to be spending on human slaves? Please ask yourself, who has this kind of money? Isn't Oprah pretty wealthy? What is she doing visiting these folks? What about guys like this? Jeffrey Epstein, the financier charged with sex trafficking. This guy was a billionaire. Just because you don't hear about him in the news or he's not famous doesn't mean that everybody who is famous doesn't know who he is and loves to hang out with him. Go over his black book. I will probably be adding that to a series. All of the people that flew on this guy's jet to his island. He has an island called Lolita Express is the name of the airplane, and then Pedophile Island is literally the name of his island. Yeah, where he goes out and does absolutely abominable things with children. Uh-oh, there he is hanging out with Bill Clinton. There he is hanging out with Bill Gates. Some pretty wealthy individuals, I would say. Definitely could afford $25,000 for a human slave. Who has the attitude that says, man, I need some slaves? Elite people? People that want to be in charge of you? Yeah. People that just, they lust over positions of power? These are the things that they desire in life. They want to have power over people? Yeah. Who has the money and the desire to buy and want a human slave? I should have added this one to my last presentation when I was going through all the people in drag. They found a painting of Bill Clinton in Jeffrey Epstein's New York mansion, dressed in drag. Could you imagine what these people do in private? I'm showing you what they're out publicly doing. Think about what they do privately. Let's go back to the Bible. Isaiah chapter 23, verses 7 through 11. Is this your joyous city, whose antiquity is of ancient days? Her own feet shall carry her afar off to sojourn. Who hath taken this counsel against Tyre, the crowning city, whose merchants are princes, whose traffickers are the honorable of the earth? The Lord of hosts hath purposed it, to stain the pride of all glory, and to bring into contempt all the honorable of the earth. Pass through the land as a river, O daughter of Tarshish. There is no more strength. He stretched out his hand over the sea. He shook the kingdoms. The Lord hath given a commandment against the merchant city to destroy the strongholds thereof. Very interesting verse here. Whose traffickers are the honorable of the earth. What is he saying here? The Bible is talking about the city of Tyre, which was one of the most glorious cities in the ancient days. Traffickers. What is the definition of trafficker? A person who trades in illegal goods, especially drugs, or who buys or sells people, or makes money from the work people are forced to do, such as sex work. That is the definition of trafficker. What does it say in this verse? Whose traffickers are the honorable of the earth. That means that the famous people of that day, the rich and the affluent, the elite people who were the honorable people, were the traffickers. Think about this verse and the relevancy that it has today. How amazing that a book written thousands of years ago is still talking about things that are actively going on today. Oh, it's just a book written by ignorant goat herders. You are a fool if you believe that the Bible was written by ignorant people. 40 different authors writing over thousands of years in a story that wraps up all of human history, tells you where you came from, where you're going, and how to get there, how it began and how it's going to end. You are a fool if you reject the Bible. You could be ignorant and never read the Bible. Okay, fine. I highly suggest you pick it up and start reading. Peter Dinklage. Very interesting little tidbit here. If you've ever seen Game of Thrones or know the character that I'm talking about, his name was Tyrion. They are still honoring this city in the shows that are being promoted today. This is one of the most popular shows that's ever been on TV. And the character that they put out as like the hero, his name is Tyrion. Tyrion. The symbolism right there on his jacket is very interesting. The hidden hand that controls everything. We'll have to get into that in other presentations. I just don't have time for this one. Here we have more famous people throwing up the 666s. Eddie Murphy. Here we have from Virgin Airlines. This guy, Richard Branson. I was reading this guy's book years ago, and it's bizarre, the lives that these people lead. Him and his wife were they're going through a phase where he would drive her to her boyfriend's house, and he was like begging her not to get out of the car and sleep with her boyfriend. They were married at the time. These are what the elite people are up to. It's bizarre, just ridiculous, evil, satanic. Here we have a famous rapper, T-Pain, I believe is his name, throwing up the 666s, the Satanic Trinity. Here we have the famous English comedian Ricky Gervais throwing up the 666s, the Satanic Trinity. Here you have Michael Douglas next to Captain Kirk from Star Trek throwing up the Satanic Trinity. Here we have a very famous wrestler, John Cena, throwing up the Satanic Trinity. There he is again. There he is again. Uh-oh. Even the old school guys are doing it. Elvis throwing up the 666. Who is the entity behind these people's fame and fortune? Think about it. Here you got the Pope throwing up the 666. Here we have Netanyahu out of Israel throwing up the 666. Here we have two famous rappers throwing up the 666. The All-Seeing Eye. Here we have Jay-Z throwing up the Satanic Trinity, the 666. There's his wife. Beyonce throwing up the 666. Going back to the All-Seeing Eye on top of the pyramid behind on your dollar bill. Well, interesting. Where else do we see this symbolism? Uh-oh. Catholic Church, what's going on here? Why do we see this symbol plastered all over these cathedrals? What are these sun rays coming out from behind it? Well, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, the light bringer. The Satanists worship Lucifer as the light bringer. He is the one that brought knowledge to them, special knowledge. If you ever studied secret societies, why are they so secret? Because they hold on to secret knowledge, and that's what they promise their initiates. You're going to work your way up the levels. They don't tell most of the initiates right off the bat what they're getting into, but through the process of initiation and the rituals, they're going to see who's willing to take it this far and who is not. So the ones that they see are willing to debase themselves and keep working themselves up the level, they get to the higher levels of Freemasonry, the light bringer, bringing them that knowledge. You know, it's interesting in the Bible, it constantly talks about how there is nothing secret in Christianity. Everything is preached to the public. It's always available. There's no secrets with God. There's no levels of Christianity that you have to work your way up. You can start out with a relationship with God and constantly be improving on that relationship, but that's no secret. Everything to lead a fulfilling Christian life is right there in the Bible. There's no secret levels. There's no secret Bible that's being hidden over here that's going to be revealed to you by God once you reach some secret level. No. He has very clear and simple instructions on how to live a godly life that is going to just improve yourself on a massive scale. If you just follow the simple instructions in that Bible, you'll reach levels of Christianity that a secret society would only dream of. They have to use all this mysticism, magic, and tricks to give the perception that these initiates are a part of something that's special, or that the rest of us would envy or want to be a part of. And unfortunately, there are people out there that envy it, and they want to be a part of the fame and the fortune and the debasement, but it's not worth it. If you study what a lot of these celebrities have to say about the result of the agreement that they made to get to the level that they are, they're miserable. Look at all the ones that commit suicide and they suffer from depression and alcoholism and all the problems that they have. It is because it is unnatural to debase yourself. Unnatural. And it leads them to suffer internally. Externally, they're so happy. They've got all the riches, they got the fame, they've got all of these friends that love them because they're rich and famous, not because of who they are. They suffer in so many ways. But anyway, let's get back to the Catholic Church and their satanic symbolism here. We've got some more on the cathedrals. We've got, there it is, right? If you look past the priest there, you got it right behind them. We've got IHS, which is detailed in the Catholic Church. Now, they say it stands for some Latin phrase, but it actually stands for Isis, Horus, Set, the gods of Egypt. You'll notice that whenever you see Mary portrayed with baby Jesus in the Catholic Church, they always got this halo behind them. It's actually a sun disk. It's meant for sun worship, the sun god Ra going back to Egypt. Here we have another portrayal of Mary with all the sun rays and the halos behind her there with baby Jesus. This actually represents Isis and Horus. This has nothing to do with Christianity. Why does the Catholic Church want you praying to Mary? The Bible specifically says, do not pray to anyone except God. Even when the angels came down to visit people and people would fall on their faces and try to worship the angel would say, stop it. You're not supposed to worship me. I am just a messenger. Mary has a special place in history. She birthed Jesus Christ, but that is not to be worshiped. There are so many examples throughout the Bible of God taking the average person, like his disciples, the fishermen, the average people of the world, and allowing them to do incredible things through him. You're not supposed to worship the disciples. You're supposed to venerate God for his amazing grace and the gifts that he gives us. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 18, the children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough, to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. The Queen of Heaven is being worshipped by the Catholic Church. Here we have another example of this symbolism. You've got the all-seeing eye, the pyramid, and the sun rays behind it for Freemasonry. They're all part of the same beast. It's just different arms. So you've got the Freemasonic symbolism here. Here's some more symbolism from Freemasonry. You'll notice right at the bottom there, the skull and the crossbones going back to the Knights Templar. They're also part of Freemasonry. The pirates, the skull and bones, you can research them. I talked about them in the previous video. You've got the pillars of Freemasonry, Jachin and Boaz, which goes back to Solomon's temple. Unfortunately, at the end of Solomon's life, he got into a lot of Satanism. So this may have even come out of some of that wisdom that God gave him and got turned into Satanism. The checkerboard floor, you see the all-seeing eye at the top with the sun rays coming out. Fascinating. Freemasonry symbolism right there for you. Uh-oh. What's going on here? The Mormon Temple in Salt Lake City has the all-seeing eye right there with the sun rays coming out from behind it. Don't they have their own thing going? Why are they sharing the same symbolism as the Catholic Church and Freemasonry and Satanism? Wouldn't you say this is a cult? Well, what's going on here? The Israeli Supreme Court has a pyramid coming out from it with an eye on top of it. You can see it on the top left, the pyramid coming right up out of the building with the all-seeing eye. What does that remind you of? Think about this language of symbolism that is so prevalent in the world. The love of money is the root of all evil. Isn't that what they say? Well, who controls the money? The spirit, Satan, he doesn't need money like we need money, but he can use money for his purposes and get people to love money. See, there's nothing essentially wrong with currency or, well, actually, that's a whole seminar in itself, is just talking about the different terms for currency, which goes back to Admiralty law. You know, current, the flow of money. It all has to do with laws of the ocean. Very interesting. But going back to this is some paper money, which is completely worthless, from Estonia, Northern Europe. Look at the symbolism right there. They also have the all-seeing eye with sun rays coming from behind it. It shows you who controls the money, the evil spiritual wickedness that we are fighting against in the world. Katy Perry, literally showing you the Eye of Horus. This goes back to Egypt. There it is, right there, the Eye of Horus, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 7. Then said I unto them, cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. What is he talking about? The eyes, the idols of Egypt. It's on so many levels. The Bible is an amazingly deep book. Just look at what's being said here. Cast away Egypt, your idols. Get rid of them. What do we have here? We've got some more Catholics doing satanic things. If you guys ever wonder why they wear those ridiculous hats, it's actually to honor the fish god, Dagon. If you remember the story of Samson, well, when they captured Samson, they put him in the temple of Dagon, and then his hair grew back and he was able to push the pillars over and destroy everybody in that temple. Well, this is the god that they were worshiping, Dagon, the fish god. If you also remember the stories when the Philistines captured the Ark of the Covenant and they brought it back to their city, they put it in the temple of Dagon, and the idol of their god, the huge statue that they made of Dagon, kept falling on its face in front of the ark. God has a sense of humor. And then he smote them all with emerods. You can read about that story. What is this all about? This is an FBI document that details some of the symbolism used by pedophiles. Look at this triangle here. Why is the Pope wearing a robe that has this symbol on it? There he is again. Not only is he holding up pagan idols, but he has something very serious embroidered on his robes. I would say that this is cult-like behavior when you're using pedophilic symbolism and you're getting cozy with a baby in that position. This lady, Miss Jackson Lee, she is a congresswoman, I believe, from Houston. Look at her ring. Look at the bottom of the photo. What does that ring look like to you? These people use symbols to communicate with each other. Just learn what the symbols mean. Here we got some more 666s over the all-seeing eye. There's Donald Trump, 666s by the eyes. Here we have Jackie Chan, 666s. Here we have Johnny Depp with Emma Watson showing the 666. Here we have Lady Gaga showing the 666. There he is again, throwing the 666 over the eye. Here we have the hidden eye symbolism with the lightning bolt. In the Bible, it says, I beheld Satan fall from heaven. like lightning. There it is, satanic symbolism right there. Here you go again, covering up the eye, covering up the eye. Here's on Vogue magazine, covering up the eye. More lightning symbolism here. You got David Bowie. Here you got more symbolism with David Bowie, Lady Gaga, the lightning bolt covering the eye. Satanic symbolism going back to the Bible. Here we have more symbolism. Lil Wayne and another rapper covering up the eye, throwing the 666. You got Justin Bieber right here throwing the 666 with Madonna, showing two 666s, the Satanic Trinity. Here we got Justin Bieber again, 666s over both eyes this time, representing the all-seeing eye. Corey Feldman throwing up the 666s. There's, oh, what's this guy's name? Drake, throwing up the all-seeing eye with the 666. Here is singer Jessie J throwing up the 666, Satanic Trinity. Here we have Kevin Spacey and Usain Bolt, a famous athlete, throwing up the 666 over the all-seeing eye. Here we have Revolution Magazine, Buzz Aldrin throwing up the Satanic 666. Even the astronauts are into this stuff. Here you got another astronaut showing the Masonic hand sign, putting his two fingers together, resembling the M, which stands for Mason. And then you have another astronaut right there. You can see his Masonic ring. Here we have Buzz Aldrin, his certificate at the Lodge of Freemasonry right there. Bono throwing up the Maltese Cross, which is a sign of the Knights of Malta, another satanic secret society connected to Freemasonry, also showing the all-seeing eye right there. Here we have ID Magazine and Pharrell, a rapper, showing you the all-seeing eye. Here we have Lionel Richie, a famous singer, throwing up the all-seeing eye. Generations, Star Trek, the movie. You see the all-seeing eye of Lucifer right there being portrayed by the actors. Bono again, covering up his eye, showing the all-seeing eye. And Beyonce, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer right there. Here's another one of Usain Bolt, Olympic athlete, showing you the eye of Lucifer. Celine Dion and Rihanna on the covers of their albums, showing you the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. One Direction, famous band, all the guys in the band there showing you the Satanic Trinity, 666s over the all-seeing eye. Promo from the movie The Dark Knight, showing the Joker. He has the card over his eye, showing you one eye, representing the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. We've got Star Wars, all the promos for Star Wars, showing you the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. They're covering up one eye. Here we have more promos covering up the eye, representing the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. We've got Kristen Jenner holding up her high school diploma over one eye, showing you the all-seeing eye right there. Ellen, Variety Magazine, you can see the one eye symbolism right there. Here she is next to Kanye West, throwing up another symbol that I haven't covered in this presentation, but it is the pyramid. So we can cover that later, but sometimes they'll put the pyramid over one eye, and it represents the Illuminati pyramid and the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, just like the back of the dollar bill shows the pyramid with the eye on top. It is the same symbol. Here we have Ellen on her show. Now, the theme of her show in the background and how it's decorated resembles Jeffrey Epstein. Remember that guy? Yeah, the human trafficker, the billionaire. He had his own island where he would traffic children. Why does her set look exactly like the temple on his island? Start asking yourself that. Who has the money to afford somebody that's a human slave for $25,000? Start asking yourself this question. Here's another shot of her set. You can see the symbolism there resembles Jeffrey Epstein's temple on the island. And he's got two owls on top of that temple, which goes to Bohemian Grove, the owl out in the woods that the Bohemian Grove people worship. We'll have to get into that on another presentation. I don't have time to cover on this one. Vogue magazine, you've got more one-eye symbolism right here. You got Jennifer Lopez showing the one-eye symbolism. You've got Brazilian singer Anitta showing one-eye symbolism. Here we have Young Thug showing the one-eye symbolism. Here you have a famous actor, Mads Mikkelsen. He plays Hannibal Lecter in a TV show where they eat people. Cannibalism, showing you the one eye, symbolism of Lucifer. Cult-like behavior. Mariah Carey showing the one eye symbolism right there, the eye of Lucifer. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson right there with the one eye symbolism. One of the most famous actors of today. showing his loyalty. You've got Allure magazine showing more men dressing in drag, just like we covered in the last presentation, all the representations of the ritual that they do to debase themselves and how the Bible talks about do not wear anything that pertaineth to a woman if you are a man. So why did they make this stuff so popular? Here, this guy's name is Bad Bunny. There he is, right there in the magazine, wearing a skirt. Rolling Stone magazine, you see the one-eye symbolism right here. And right next to him, you've got Phineas Eilish. He's the brother of Billie Eilish, a very famous singer, showing the one-eye symbolism. Here we have more one-eye symbolism from the magazine Marie Claire and GQ magazine, showing you the one eye of Lucifer, the all-seeing eye. Here we have Nicki Minaj, filthy rapper, showing you the one-eye symbolism. You can check out some of her interviews where she talks about being possessed by demons, her multiple personalities. Director Stephen Hildebrand raped a 13-year-old boy. There they have the picture of him right on the news article covering up his eye. The All-Seeing Eye of Lucifer Achievement Magazine Awards, showing you the one-eye symbolism. Here you have a magazine from Europe where they are debasing Christ, trying to make fun of Jesus. There you go. They have a man dressed as a woman, and Jesus never had long hair, so this isn't much of an offense. But these are the things that they attempt to do to debase Christianity. You never see this type of stuff being promoted in the mainstream against any other religion. If you take Islam, Buddhism, none of that. They're always attacking Jesus. Ask yourself why. Here we have more one-eye symbolism from that same magazine, and then you got Nicole Kidman from a magazine showing one-eye symbolism, promoting perfume. Here you have some one-eye symbolism coming from Greta Thunberg, that kid that they have running around trying desperately to convince us that climate change is going to kill us all in the next 10 years. It is a shame what they do to these kids, parading them out in public and making them promote these agendas. Here she is again in the magazine, ID Magazine, showing the one-eye symbolism, Satan, the all-seeing eye. Here we got a movie promo, The Last Duel, Matt Damon and Adam Driver. You can see the one-eye symbolism right there. A Sky Original TV show called Wolf. You see the one-eye symbolism right there. Wolf in sheep's clothing. What are you watching? What kind of evil are you allowing into your home by putting on these shows? Here we have La Lisa magazine, the one-eye symbolism, Satan, Poppy Key Pot from a magazine spread showing the one-eye symbolism right there, the Eye of Lucifer. Vogue magazine, one-eye symbolism. Moon Knight, a Marvel movie coming out showing the one-eye symbolism. All the superheroes there. You've got one-eye symbolism, Out of Body, ID magazine. You have this famous person over here, I can't remember her name, but her boyfriend is dressed like a woman wearing devil horns, showing you some more symbolism there. And then we've got Bad Bunny dressing in drag again, wearing a dress. So when you're done getting your fill of men dressed in drag, you can pop over to Hulu and watch the movie Fresh, which is about cannibalism, people eating each other. Yeah, fantastic entertainment. Think about the mind that goes into this type of stuff. They're writing a movie about people eating each other. Is that normal? I would say that's cult-like behavior. They're always calling us a cult, you know. Oh, you guys over there, you're such a cult. Yeah, we're not writing movie scripts about people eating each other. We're not coming out like Megan Fox is, saying that she drinks blood for ritual purposes. Yeah. Scientist proposes cannibalism to save the climate on Swedish TV. Behavioral scientist Magnus Söderlind suggested that cannibalism was an answer to climate change. This is mainstream science. Think about what these people are into. I would say this is a cult. Söderlind's argument for human cannibalism was front and center during a panel talk called "Can You Imagine Eating Human Flesh?" at the Gastro Summit. They were having a summit in which the panel that are discussing it. A panel is a group of people, of experts that are coming together to discuss a topic. And the topic is, can you imagine eating human flesh? What would people's reaction be is if Dinosaur Adventureland, if we put out a newsletter or if we put on our website or on our YouTube channel and said, hey everybody, this weekend at Dinosaur Adventureland, we're going to discuss eating human flesh. I think that the reaction would be, those people are insane. What a cult. And yet this is happening in the mainstream. Ugh. Taboos against cannibalism, he said, can change over time if people simply tried eating human flesh. When asked during an interview after his talk if he personally would try human flesh, Soderlund said he was open to the idea. I feel somewhat hesitant, but to not appear overly conservative, I'd have to say I'd be open to at least tasting it. This is his quote. He's open to tasting human flesh. Mainstream scientist. And Dinosaur Adventureland is a cult. Yeah. You people are insane if you really are into this stuff. Insane. CNN host Reza Aslan caused outrage and horror when he allegedly ate human brain from a skull. Now we're getting onto the mainstream news. They are eating human brains on CNN. Daily Mail, CNN presenter Reza Aslan sparks backlash after he eats human brain while filming with Hindu cannibal sect. Yeah, that's mainstream news for you. I would say that that is cultish behavior, but oh, whatever. Well, you know, when you're famous and well known, you could just eat people on live TV, and everybody's like, yeah, that's fine. Well, I mean, I guess I'm encouraged by the backlash that's being sent here. But this is why they're so desperately after kids, because if they can get this into the minds of children, as they grow up, it's just normal. And there will be no backlash. Thank God people are still outraged by stuff like this. Richard Dawkins. What if human meat is grown? Could we overcome our taboo against cannibalism? Ooh. The top atheist evolutionist of our day is fantasizing about cannibalism. Do you really think he's an atheist? I would say he's a Satanist. I would say that he teaches evolution as part of his religion to honor Satan. Evolution teaches the exact opposite of the Bible, which is what a Satanist would do. Think about it. This is John Podesta. He runs a lobbying group with his brother, Tony Podesta. It was the most powerful lobbying group in Washington at some time before President Trump won the election. But here's John Podesta with some art on his office wall of two men eating a man on a table. Yeah, that's what these people are at the top of the liberal establishment. Very cult-like behavior, I would say. Let's get into Dazed Magazine. Some more men running around in drag. A couple more shots. Famous men in drag. Here we go. The rapper Lil Nas holding his own head. What does that remind us of? Jared Leto holding his own head at a party. Cult-like behavior. Here we got Justin Bieber. One-eye symbolism. Holding up junk food. Then we've got Lady Gaga again with the one-eye symbolism. Here we got Lil Nas again throwing up the one-eye symbolism with another famous actor. Here we have Grimes, the wife of Elon Musk, holding a knife over her eye. This was in an Instagram post which she says, "Despite all my rage, I am still just a doll in a cage." What does that mean? Study MKUltra. Might answer some questions for you on that one. Here are some albums that have been put out using the one-eye symbolism. Take My Breath and Aurora. Also has satanic imagery on the ground used for rituals. ID Magazine showing the one-eye symbolism. This guy, screen name Rizal, one of the most popular streamers of today. He gets online and plays video games, and he's got all these people that love to watch him. Well, he's wearing a t-shirt, "Love has no gender, religion, sexuality, body, or color." What's missing on that t-shirt that they'd love to add is age. Love has no age. You're going to start seeing that being slung around. He was arrested for raping a child. Yeah. Hammer Magazine showing the one-eye symbolism. All Seeing Eye of Lucifer. You have Kevin Hart, fatherhood. showing the one-eye symbolism, show for Netflix. Do you remember in my past presentation when I played the gay orchestra from San Francisco when they were singing about converting your kids to their lifestyle? Well, there's Kellogg's. Together with pride, we'll convert your kids. Read the cereal box. They are dead serious about this agenda. They are coming after your kids. Children's network Nickelodeon aired a segment featuring drag queen Nina West, singing a song called The Meaning of Pride. The chorus says, "Wave the pride flag up high," while Nina West salutes it. Ask yourself why they're playing this on a children's network. You don't even have to ask yourself why. They tell you straight to your face that they are going to convert your kids. Here we have Elle magazine, more one-eye symbolism. More magazines showing the one-eye symbolism, more one-eye symbolism, more one-eye symbolism in a show called Charmed, again going directly against the Bible. In Genesis, when God talks about the abominations that he hates, right there, Charmed, using the one-eye symbolism. Here is a fake headline made for a TV show, "Hybrid Babies Born Across the U.S." Well, these TV shows are really trying to warm us up to something, aren't they? They keep presenting us these comic book superheroes like X-Men and these crossbreeds where the DNA is getting mixed with animals. Wouldn't it be awesome to have animalistic capabilities? Ooh, yeah, look at the X-Men and all the cool stuff they're doing. Think about it, corrupting the DNA. These messed up experiments that they're doing now, you can look up hybrids and what they're trying to crossbreed with human DNA. It would disgust you to see what's publicly available. I can't imagine what's private that they're doing and not telling us about. Again, more stuff with the X-Men, all of these heroes, crossbreeding, mixing with animals. You've got, literally one of them is called Beast, the one in the top corner there. This is coming from the beast, apocalypse. The Bible talks about these days, the days of Noah. Matthew chapter 24, verse 37. "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." The days of Noah were so bad that God had to destroy the whole world. One family remained righteous and was saved. It said that those days are coming again in the end times. I think they're here. Look around. Also, Luke chapter 17, verses 28 through 30. "Likewise, also as it was in the days of Lot." You guys remember the video I did previously to this one? We talked about Sodom and Gomorrah, what was going on there. It will also become like those days in the end times. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. Be ready. Look for the signs. Prepare yourself. Don't get caught off guard. Ezekiel chapter 33, verses 6 through 7. "But if the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand." If you know about these things and you're not telling people, shame on you. "So thou, O Son of Man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth and warn them from me." Warn people. Share this information. Tell them what's going on. If you see it and you ignore it, you're in danger of God's judgment. Putting these presentations together is so that I can pile up all the evidence. Come, let us reason together. Let us discuss these issues that we're having these days. I know that most people are not into this stuff, but we're being sucked into it by the cult, the mainstream cult, the popular cult. That is the real cult that we should all be afraid of. And yet so many of us are sucked into this cult because we are unaware. We're not studying our Bible. We're not asking questions. We're getting twisted into this beast system. You need to pray about these things. You need to open up your Bible. You need to have Bible studies with other people. You need to discuss these issues. It's kind of weird and awkward bringing up a topic like this, but share the video. Tell people about it. I mean, just find documentaries. Out of Shadows is a wonderful documentary that could wake up everybody to some of the more serious things going on these days. Go onto a search engine, type in Out of Shadows documentary. You should be able to find it. I think it's still on YouTube. It's about a stuntman from Hollywood, and he talks about all these connections. It's a very entertaining film. Most people would actually enjoy watching it. But the information contained in there is very similar to what I'm covering here and what I've covered in my last video, and it needs to be brought to the public's attention. Let's end in a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask for your strength in these rough times, in these dark times. We pray for your healing. We pray that you expose this evil, and we pray for these wicked people. I pray that you soften their hearts. I pray that you open up their eyes to their own blindness. I pray for your protection. I pray for your wisdom. I pray for your blessing. And I pray that you help us all and guide us through the valley of the shadow of death, and that we should fear no evil. I pray in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thanks for watching, everybody. God bless.